All right. So number four and number seven is what we want to focus on. Number four, ability to follow a clear sales process for, excuse me, number five and number seven is what we want to kind of kill two birds with one stone. Number five reads ability to automatically notify an account executive when the lead has been qualified. That's been a problem for NTO. Obviously, before with SDRs, just using their own spreadsheets and having no clear rhyme or reason or logic behind what they were doing. No fault of their own, just basically trying to be as organized and structured as they possibly could. There were leads that got lost, there were inconsistent information basically conveyed to account executives, and account executives would have to be manually emailed from an SDR to even know that they had a lead that has been qualified and waiting for them. So we want to eliminate that process, and that ties into the final requirement, which was the ability to evenly distribute qualified leads to the account executive team. Um, so, of course, working at NTO Sandbox, we would have access to all of the leads, or excuse me, all of the users and the user licenses, because that's what you would need to be able to set up like a round robin system. We don't have a round robin system because we don't have access to NTO Sandbox. But for this video, for this example, we're using a development org or developers org, which actually only gives two licenses. One would be mine as a Salesforce admin, and then the second one would just be a user, just a random user that we would have. So we do have one random user set up, and so we're going to try to basically give an example of what it should look like just using that one, but it won't allow for a round robin if you only literally have one person in your org besides your admin. But what we could do is, according to NTO's requirements and meeting with them, basically they needed a system that was fair. And so, of course, you would assign territories for that fairness as far as distribution. And so what we want to do is basically we want to create a lead assignment rule for that. Now, there's already a lead assignment rule in the system, but we're going to delete it and then we're going to create another one just so you can see how it's done. So let's go to our homepage, NTO Sales, and we actually want to go to Setup. So under Setup, we want to go to Leads, and you'll see several different options there. We're going to go to Lead Assignment Rules. All right, as you can see, there can only be one rule active at a time. We already have one. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that one. Actually, no, I kind of need it. Oh no, let's delete it. Get it. Let's delete it. And we're gonna start a new one. You only live once. So let's go with qualified. Let's see, what do we want to name it? Rule name. Let's call it automatic lead process for, or lead rules for account executives. We're going to make that active. Save. So we went ahead and make that active. So let's click on it. And let's set up a rule entry. You can have several different rule entries, which is why I was hesitant to delete it, because I did have several in there for several different things. But I do want to go ahead and do it from scratch so you can see how it's actually done. Very simple. So let's create a new rule. Sort order, we're going to go with 1, meaning 1 will be processed first. And then depending, as you see, and, then that will basically determine how everything is processed. Usually when the first rule is hit, it reads that first, and it goes to second, third, fourth, so on and so on. So you can also create a formula in here. And I've got some coding background, so I could play around with that if I really wanted to. That's something that I would probably plan for and kind of draft out first before doing it. So let's go with criteria. And so basically what we are looking for is based on the lead status. Let's see if I can find lead status. Where are you? Lead clean status. Let's see, is that the same as lead? Here it is, lead status. And we want it to equal, we got several different options, but we want it to equal, let's go to value. We want close converted. Well, basically just means that the lead has been properly qualified from an SDR. Insert selected. And then we want to base it upon, that's actually, we don't need an and there. That's really the only thing that we, actually, no, that's not right. Actually, let's do this. Let's do lead. And we're going to set it up by, actually not lead, let's do state. Because typically with territory, it's going to be based on state, right? So if the lead is based in a particular province or state, here it is, lead state province. We want it to equal just something simple. Let's just say New York, NY. Then step 3, select the user or queue to assign the lead to. Again, I've only got 2 licenses, one for myself. The next one is for my other user, who is Tyler, actually one of my best friends. So we're going to pretend Tyler is our account executive. And then I've got an email template already set up, and you can set that up in the classic version. And so it's going to be qualified lead for AEs, or I could use qualified lead. And if you see here the description, for use after a lead has been qualified or for use by account executives only, I've got 2. I'm going to go with this one because I think that's the latest one that I created. And then you can see here, if your organization uses record types, the assignment rules determine the record type. When the lead is created manually or imported without a specified record type, when no assignment rules apply, the record type of the lead owner is used. When the default lead owner is a queue, the queue owner's default record type is used. So you could potentially assign this to a queue. It wouldn't make sense for me to do that with only 2 Salesforce licenses, but ideally that could be an option. Usually you see that more so with cases. Let me just go back here real quickly. With cases, which I eliminated from here because pretty much an SDR is not going to use that. Also, a account executive is not going to use that, but it could definitely be added, and we can also add it. So basically, it's just under service, and then these will be cases. So let's go to a case. If we create a new case, let's see if there are still any open ones, and they've got a few in here. That's what that would be for. Where basically you would create a queue, and you can create case assignment rules, and those case assignment rules could be assigned to a queue. And so you can have like a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 tech support, then that's what you would use that for. But that doesn't apply for what we're doing right now. So again, I'm gonna, let's go through this real quick. So based on lead status, if it is closed converted, which means it's qualified, and the state for the converted lead, so for that company equals New York, because that's Tyler's territory, then he gets that lead. And this email will automatically go out to him. We click save. And this is what it looks like. Okay, that's exactly what it looks like. Cool, that was fun.